Hello, friends. It is the final night for the Stickers and Scuffs podcast in 2022. I'm going to start this episode off with the real stars of this show. The real stars, of course, the Bunn Sons, who've grown up so much in a year, making us both feel really old. But we got to have a real full year experience, boys, this year. We didn't have, we kind of had that last year, except it was just not a lot of time, right? So we got a full amount of time this time. We started off at Sunset Speedway, and you guys were both able to be there for that, dressed up in our jerseys, thanks to Epic Racewear and Driven Forward Communications. And I didn't even make it to the full race at Sunset because it was so bloody hot out. But one thing we wanted to have you guys on was get to talk about your year and get to talk about the racing experience, because not every kid out there knows what it's like to go to the racetrack in Canada. And you guys kind of know how to do that. You've kind of been doing it. I almost feel like you've been going to the racetrack since you were little kids. Even though you're still not that old, but I mean, you got to some new experiences this year. So I'm going to start off with the senior of the Bunn boys, and making his dad shorter every single day, which is great. I can't wait for when Riley joins, because then all of a sudden we're going to be the tiny ones on the podcast. But Owen, you got to experience a lot of cool stuff this year. What was one of the things that it doesn't have to be Pinty series specific, but just in general, what's one thing that you really liked that we did this year?
The entirety of the Oshweekend weekend.
Entirety of this weekend. Now, that was something that Cam K didn't even get to be a part of, but you got to be a part of. Now, what was it that made that event so cool for you?
The crossover between NASCAR and dirt. And also the fact that TJ was there with the awesome simulator set up. That was the fun challenge. And the sprint cars also there. The entire thing was just awesome.
Was that your first time seeing sprint cars too?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. First time dirt experience, the Oshweekend Speedway Penny Series, getting to the Valhalla Mobile Simulator, all kind of wrapped up in one. I mean, that's what we talked about before, is it's always a lot of cool things to do at the racetrack. And now we'll go to the younger of the two Bunn Sons, and Riley. We got to do a lot of cool stuff this year. What was one of the things that you really liked?
Well, I do have a lot, but when it comes to Pinties, two things really come to my mind. The first one is all the different drivers, like through the whole season, which I think there's a record set with different drivers or whatever. And like we got to meet Kenny Schrader, Stuart Friesen, like so many people. But my other one is Dexter Stacy's podium at CTMP. Just how happy he was, and we had the stickers on his car as well.
That's right, we did, and we got to see him afterwards, and you guys got to interview him. It's up on the channel if you haven't seen it already. But obviously, the Penny Series is where we got to experience a lot of cool things this year. We know it's GP3R, and we were able to see that for the first time. I think next we've kind of learned that if we were to do that again, we bring a lot more water. And we bring some shade with us, right?
It was like almost 40 degrees or something on Saturday.
Yeah, I think I think it was 44 degrees Celsius.
Somewhere around.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, we learned about that, but you guys obviously watch more than just the Pinty Series. So, racing as a whole for 2022, what's one thing that you guys will give? I'll give Riley again that time because he went last. So, Owen, what's one thing that across any racing series that you really liked this past year?
So in the Cup Series, my favorite driver is William Byron, and he had definitely his best season, making almost the championship four with career high top 5 and wins.
That
I
would do it.
just like to see him be competitive week in and week out.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And Riley, how about you?
Well, I have actually a couple. My first one was Greg Biffle returning to the series and even getting a top 20 at Atlanta with NY Racing. Like, I know that's pretty much a super speedway, but that's still really cool to see. And also Tyler Reddick to get his not 1, not 2, but 3 wins in the Cup Series this year is really exciting.
RCR is coming back.
Yeah.
And also, like, we also watch a lot of F1. And in F1, like Mick Schumacher and Daniel Ricciardo, they're my 2 favorite drivers. But Schumacher got a P6 at Austria, which I was really happy about. And Ricciardo just did pretty good all year long.
Ricciardo's Ricciardo, though. That's why I love him. He's funny.
Yeah.
I think he's one of my most favorite drivers to listen to. Have you guys watched their YouTube channel? They do a lot of funny stuff on there. So.
I'm subscribed to him.
Yeah, do you? Okay, awesome.
I'm more of a Lando fan myself.
Are you? All right, yeah. They're I like a lot of those guys. They're really good, and that's what I want to see. I know you guys know the NASCAR Penny Series drivers really well, but how cool would it be to have videos like that with the NASCAR Penny Series guys doing like Secret Santa with each other?
That would be so fun.
Competitions and stuff. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So the Bunn Sons have been here. You know, they've taken a little bit of a break because they're busy at school, growing up and doing some fun stuff. But they'll be back with us again in 2023. I've got to ask you guys though, early, way too early predictions. Okay, so your Cup Series champion, and your Pinty Series champion for 2023.
Okay.
Now we don't know everybody in the Pinty Series yet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard.
It's okay. Mine is already confirmed.
Okay. All right. So if you've already got them, so we'll say your Pinty Series champion first. And Riley, we're going to start with you.
I think Cameron's going to go back to back.
Back to back. Wow. Okay.
For Cup, I have a couple drivers in mind.
Okay.
I don't really know though. But some drivers who I think could do well is obviously Elliott. He's just pretty
I'd
good.
rather not, but okay.
Well, I hope Tyler Reddick does good next year.
Yeah, me too.
He's very unlucky when it comes to the round of 16 though.
That's very true.
But probably my prediction would probably Elliott or Larson.
Elliott or Larson, okay. Okay. And what about you, Owen? Let's go
your
with
t-shirt.
Oh. Trayton Lapsevich for the Penny Series championship. Okay. I like that.
Recently won the D-Box championship.
Yeah, the D-Box International iRacing Series champion. Yep. All right. And then if it's going to be Trayton, then who's going to win the Cup Series championship?
I have like 3 names in mind. Hamlin gets his first, and Elliott and Larson get my backups are going to get their second. Okay. Also, long horse is Byron. No bias here at all, but he's on an upward trajectory. So,
well, I actually think you're pretty close. I had Trayton for the Penny Series championship, and I actually have the other 20 car winning the Cup Series championship. I think Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell
as well.
I think he's starting to get comfortable, and that's dangerous. So, again, make sure you guys tune into the Stickers and Scuffs podcast all season long. We'll be at the racetrack with the Bunn Sons. We'll be at some shops with the Bunn Sons, and the Bunn Sons will be around providing their insight and knowledge. We want to thank Riley and Owen, and then we'll bring in Old Smooth. We'll bring in Big GB to come and do the rest. Thank you, boys.
Thank you.
This episode of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast has been brought to you by Remax Jack. Jack provides a friendly, customer-driven service in search for homes and provides excellent details on the market, values, and trends in buying and selling. Jack has been able to work with Cam on his search and always makes himself available when he has a question. Remax Jack will help you if you're looking to buy or sell a home within the GTA. He's who Cam K trusts to find his next home, and he should be yours too. Remember, call Remax Jack and start to pack. For more information, go to remaxjack.ca.
We're back. Thanks to the Bunn Sons for leading us in for what is our final episode of 2022. We've actually had a great year, Graydon. We're here in the review mirror, and which was a great idea, by the way, calling this the rear view. Looking back on 2022 and what was for the podcast, and this was an amazing year, man. I don't think we expected to have such fun that we did this year, and we had race weekends where you were racing. We had race weekends where we weren't together. We were in separate racetracks and covering different things, and we had moments where we couldn't be at the same place, where we were at the same place, but got separated because things were just so busy. But our year started off a little bit crazy, man. I wasn't able to make the full event at Sunset due to health issues, and then at CTMP, you guys got blown away, and it was literally blown away. And you guys buckled down and came back the next day because you guys are friggin' troopers. And then we finally got our groove. We went out to GP3R, and I almost died there again. And dude, it was great. We started seeing more and more people want to have the S&S decal on the race cars, and we got to see them live. And that's the coolest thing, dude, is we got to meet a lot of people this year, and we're going to continue to do that in 2023. And you got to be out there on the racetrack, buddy, and you got to do it a couple of times. And while the first time maybe wasn't what you wanted, the second time maybe wasn't what you wanted, it's opened up some doors for some future running, and you've just met so many great people. But let's first talk about those people that because we're going to talk about people mostly in this episode, and we definitely want to thank the people that were helping you out when you made your first start this year at Peterborough and the Outlaw Midgets.
Yeah, man. What a year for us, though, right? Kind of growing by leaps and bounds in our own little world here, and and it kind of translated into dreams coming true, and that's the way I look at it. I might not have looked at it necessarily that way right away, in terms of the Outlaw Midgets race, because it wasn't a Cinderella story by any means, but Marshall Wade, crew chief Wade, our buddy Wade Yarrow, signed on for what he thought was just going to be basically crew chief name in symbolism. But man, the guy was head wrench in every sense of the word. I mean, we ended up changing engines. As a lot of people, I've talked about this story quite a bit on here, where if the team car that I was teammate to us hadn't flipped in practice, I wouldn't have had an engine to put on my dead stick car. So that part of it, I mean, when I dreamed of being a race car driver, I didn't think I was going to jump in a race car and be like the kid in the Rookie of the Year movie, where you just start throwing fastballs and striking people out because you break your arm or something weird like that. I knew I'm not going to be the second coming of Ray Morneau or something like that. But man, yeah, I mean, it was a dream come true, and it was an education. It race days, every fan knows, we know this, race days for almost every damn team in every series never goes like they planned. Like, there's always something that goes sideways, or a detail that gets overlooked, or a failure that happens that you're maybe prepared for that, but you'd hope it doesn't happen. And that was the case. And if that engine didn't dead stick, I wouldn't have met and created the relationships that I had with the eventual champion, Jessica James. I mean, that's the go-to name, first of all. I mean, she's a great girl, man. She gets her hands dirty. She knows her racecraft inside and out, and selfless. I mean, like, as I said, she blew off her practice sessions to help us change the engine. Same with Hooligan, Kevin Speets, Rob McCall, and it all stems back to Dave Bradley. I mean, Dave Bradley and I have kind of. We talked about this in Dave's episode, where I saw him in the media line, or I was getting my tickets at Will Call one year, and he was picking up his credentials and stuff in the little building at the gates at CTMP, if you know where I'm talking about, everybody. And I was so scared to even say hey to him. I was like, oh my God, it's Dave Bradley. And so I just kind of let him walk on by, and like as seasons go by and you start getting around the drivers and teams and everybody in the series a little bit more, start talking to Dave, and then like, look at us now, like we're good buddy. Dave's a good buddy of ours, and that guy will always stop and turn from wherever he's going to come and shoot the breeze with us. And Dave said, he's like, you got to get into one of these things, and eventually it all kind of worked out where I did. And to bring it around, I hope it's not the last time I get in one again, because it was super fun once I got in there. And the win for us that day, and again, as Wade would attest to, was us getting the engine on that car and just getting the thing to run and get up to full song to go out there and take the green flag. And I saw the checkered, and I mean, that in the whole scheme of things was my dream come true, was to be out there with real racers racing, maybe not for position necessarily, holding my own and just hoping that the car would hold together. And man, that was trial by fire, but one hell of a night.
And you didn't get to do it once. You got to do something else. And I mean, you're kind of a nutty guy, because you go from racing first race on asphalt to your first race on dirt. And I mean, you have a lot of people to thank about getting to do that legend experience as well.
And I like, that's the thing, like everybody says with rookies going into the Cup Series and stuff, like you hear on the TV telecast, rookies don't know any better, so they just do stuff. So like, I am like the cleanest mind in terms of racecraft. I have none. So I just get into whatever somebody will put me in and let her eat. And I just made a reel about that, where it shows me looping the Legends ride there, that we never had practice. There was some formatting issues that we didn't get on track really to shake the cars down. So my first ever laps is when I was taking the green flag, and I had no idea the kind of power I had at my disposal. And so I just kind of figured it out, as I tend to do with like lots of machines and trucks that I drive, is there's no better the way than to just find out what you have at your disposal and then just kind of rein it in. Hopefully you don't bend stuff up. So that ride, if people don't know, was the Quick Wit Great Lakes Legends ride, number 30. That thing is hands down, like no pressure either, stepping into like probably the most beautiful ride in the whole field. I mean, the thing is black, polished, and all the beautiful Quick Wit logos on it and everything. But man, getting to race with the likes of, I shared the track with Mike Herniak Sr. and Trayton Lapsevich and Tony Spiteri, man, like real racers.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I pinched myself that whole day, because I told Tony that I was going to stick to him like glue and just kind of shadow him and see. Like, I was totally out of my element, probably looked like a tourist walking around with my gear just lost like a puppy. But Frank Wall and Dave Lloyd have been such great friends to me, and I can't thank them enough. Frank had an awful lot to do with getting me in that Legends ride, and I am forever grateful to those guys for doing that for me. And again, like the Outlaw Midget Series, I selfishly hope that it's not the last time. And as the boys kind of alluded to too, we want to send out congrats to our buddy Trayton on the eNASCAR International iRacing Series Championship, finishing fourth in the race that we saw this week here, the deciding championship race at the virtual Darlington. So anyway, that's my bit about my couple of races. And again, that's excuse me. Again, a dream come true for literally a race fan, that we have no experience in what we're doing here, like prior formal education. And I never took English media even. And I'll flip it back to you, man. We're at Peterborough Speedway for the OSS race, and you got your call to go up to the booth and call a race, man. So
I mean,
what was that like?
We both lived out a dream this year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing is you always dreamed being behind the wheel. I never did. I mean, I was always Alan Bestwick was my hero and still is my hero. And I just growing up with him calling races was always something that I wanted to do. I used to have my 164 diecast out on the kitchen table and I would announce races. That's what I wanted to do. It was never about racing the actual cars. It was always getting to do that. And it would not have happened without Brandon Feeney. I mean, our buddy Brandon has been so incredibly generous and reached out to track announcer Charlie Toner. And when I got to the racetrack that day, I had no idea I was announcing. He basically, Feeney introduced me and said, "Oh, by the way, you're calling the Ontario Sportsman Series race." And I said, "Well, I can't do that or whatever." And he said, "Yes, you're doing it." And I didn't let my anxiety get to me. It was an absolute thrill. And the biggest part about it, as I try not to cry here, is that my dad got to be there for it. You got to be there. And it meant more to me that I got to share that moment with my best bud, my dad, the Bunn Sons, our buddy Wade, and the OSS boys. And to call Kevin Trevelyan's first ever career win was after 30 years. That's like you don't get to ask for a better event to call for your very first time. And I don't think that either one of us is going to experience our dreams ending after this year. I think we both got opportunities, whether it be with our friend Chris Lawrence, whether it's at with the Outlaw Midgets, whether it's at Delaware Speedway, whether it's wherever, Peterborough Speedway. There's options out there for both of us, and we're so incredibly thankful for everybody that's reached out. And I'm going to go on a bit of a long list here, but this is our year for 2022. Okay. And so each person that we talk about right now was a guest on this show in 2022. And this is something we didn't do last year, but I want to actually go through and name each person that was a part of an actual episode for us, because it puts it into perspective. We started this not really knowing what the hell we're doing. I think we still kind of don't know, right, Creighton?
Every day is an opportunity to learn something, right? And we're, like absolutely. You said, we have no prior education, or like this is not our wheelhouse by any means. It sure as hell isn't mine. And it's like every day we're learning something about this gig, and that's what makes it fun, man.
It's so cool. We started the first episode of 2022 was episode 56, and we wrapped up last week with episode 95. So we continue to make those strides. I'm going to start off. We started with Olivia Whistle coming in, and we were going to have that partnership. It didn't work out in the end. I mean, let's be honest, Liv's a little bit better for everybody else than us. I think she's aiming for the stars. She's got a huge future in this business. And then we had Stephen Ellis and Mark Urban coming on, Mason Massey from DGM Motorsport or DGM Racing, the Xfinity Series, Carson Nagy, Brandon McFerrin. A big pull was getting Ray Evernham, Ryan Vargas, Stewart Haas Racing's Brian Murphy, which was, again, another shock for us. Mark Hall from the Ontario Sportsman Series, our good friend and such a great rep for the series, Caitlin Patrick from the NASCAR Penny Series, Rick Verburn, Amanda Bolson, Colton Everingham, good old Larry Jackson, Greg McPherson, Alex Nagy and Mark McSporn from Driver and Deep, Adam Ross, James Jordan and Michael Wallace from the Wide World of Motorsports, Gary Clute came back and joining us, Ray Morneau Jr., Daniel Blois returned, Todd Lewis returned, Dexter Stacy, Dominic Fougere from GP3R, Clinton Jeffrey, Jake Sheridan, Brandon Feeney, Chris Lawrence, Dave Bradley returned, Tony Spiteri returned, Joe Mo, our good buddy Joe Mo from Joe Mo Media, Connor James, Randy Butler and Samantha Shaw from Ladies of the Oval, Kevin Trevelyan, Lane Zardo, Corey Halbert, Cam Thompson and Alex Stewart, Rob Hooligan, Harrison, Brad Robinson, and of course, Adam Ross joined us last week. Again, we have a brand new set of people coming in for our final 5 episodes before we get to 100. And it's going to be an all-female led month with Jessica James, champion of the Outlaw Midget Series. We have Jennifer Hatch and Haley McNichol from the Great Lakes Racing Series, also from the Bone Stock Racing. Layla Walzer from the Junior Late Model Division, and then Reese Bourgeois, the Pure Stock champion out of Flamborough Speedway. So, we're hoping to do some shop tours in there. We have to obviously thank 22 Racing, Scott and Kyle Steckley for our first ever shop tour, which was so incredibly cool. We kind of wish we figured out the video so that we didn't have blurry video there, but great. I mean, we also got to meet a lot of people at the racetrack this year.
Man.
And it's the fact that we just talked about all these people that are willing to come on and chat with two schmucks who have no real idea what we're doing is crazy. And the fact is, right now, boys and girls, like we actually have people that are messaging us to come on the show, which we never expected at all. And we're actually full. I can't explain it. I mean, we can't explain it. We have multiple shows going. We have merchandise. I have to throw out some more thanks because I can't, in good conscience, leave out. Obviously, we mentioned Liv, who was able to help us out for a little bit, and want to thank her for what she did for us. Even though it wasn't at maybe what we originally had, all of us what we originally thought when it was going to happen. But Brent Autry, who joined us late and is definitely going to be a piece rolling in as a guest co-host and occasional footage. BMO, our good buddy. And we definitely want to throw out a big thanks and props to Al. And cameraman Al is my old man, and he's never stopped trying to help us out, and has been able to get us some good partners and able to help us get great relationships with some people that actually have featured on your shirt. Graydon, we wouldn't have been able to do this without Davin Cornelius. You wouldn't have been able to race without Davin Cornelius. Obviously, the boys at Epic Raceway and German 4 Communications reached out to us, and we weren't planning on doing shirts, and they really did us a solid. G-Force TV gives us a platform, gives myself a platform to do a Pinty show, but also allows us to be able to be mentioned on that show. And further to that too, like the at-track contest, like when Adam's doing their thing, or like bringing me up and kind of incorporating me into their their at-track experience for the audience. I mean, that was a super cool thing. Yeah, that was cool.
So great job to the G-Force boys.
Absolutely. And then we have Paul Hellowa Financial Group helped us out. Mike Fisher helped us out. Sebastian Spatero helped us out as well. We have to thank the boys and girls at Fast Lines Ajax.
Yes, big time.
We got this really cool picture frame they threw in for us. We didn't ask them to do that. They threw that in, and it was a huge fun piece at the racetrack, and we weren't really sure how it would work, and people really seemed to like it. They did all of our decals, and they'll be doing our decals again for 2023.
Which they did also all my branding,
all of your branding
for my race car in the Outlaw Midget Series too. I mean, top notch stuff. Fast Signs Ajax, they
Nikki
will work with you. They'll work with you, and they don't mess around on their pricing either. They keep their pencil sharp and treat you fair.
They do. They've done some great things for us to help us out, and we're so proud to rep them. But one of the guys that we have to go out and we have to thank, obviously, Quick, but we have to thank our man Remax Jack. And Jack's been he's supported us basically since we first started. Day one. And we're so thankful for Jack, and when we get excited, he gets excited. and he's just so happy to be along for the ride with us, and we're so happy to be repping his brand and repping him because I mean, there really isn't anybody else that I'd rather go to for my search for my next home. He's been a friend. He's been someone who really does an amazing job with getting all that figured out for me because I'm picky. But and being honest too. I think being honest about the markets, being honest about what is going to work, what isn't going to work, what you have to do to a place to put the value into it, and offers advice,
which is
for you
more
as well.
important than it's more important than ever now. I mean, every little bit of advice counts for something when you're searching for a home. I mean, you're spending the most money you're ever going to spend on something in your life. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Absolutely.
And the fact that he kind of shares our passion and sees our passion and wants to help us out. I haven't personally met Jack face to face, but I've had numerous interactions. Yeah, it'd be great to see Jack at the racetrack, but being able to chat with him online and whatnot, it's been real great, and I can't thank Jack enough for the belief and the support in us.
Absolutely, and there's a couple people that we also want to throw in there. Obviously, I mentioned Quick Wick. They obviously have done a fantastic job for us, and we want to thank them. Mike Rice is always somebody who we tend to. I think people don't realize how much he really does play a role. In a
I love his puns too. The guy's the best.
Very funny guy. Very funny guy. And obviously, I thanked Big Al, but we want to thank. I got to thank my mom too for doing our financials for us. That's
a big one.
That's a big one. And then I want to thank Mama Bunn because Mama Bunn just keeps you in line, keeps the boys in line, and feeds you at the racetrack. And trying to keep you guys calm is not something easy. I mean, I seen firsthand, and when we came over, my dad and I, and just welcome us in and feeding us when we weren't expecting to be fed, it just shows, it's we're all one big family, man. We're the SNS family, and we definitely feel it, man. It is a team atmosphere, and we're going to continue to grow and build well into 2023 and hopefully beyond. I think we kind of realize, man, that there's more to just racing. We've built a really good friendship out of it, and I would not be doing this with anybody else. I've said it
likewise,
time and again. I've gained a brother throughout all of this. Sorry, Jonathan, but you've got competition. And you know what? It's crazy, man, because we did not think that this would ever have any success. I mean, all we talked about was like, hey, we're just going to have some fun. But to actually see people, it means the world to have people thank us.
The fact that you had to thank your mom for doing our financials, like we have financials to do, like that's not something I even really thought would come into play with, like, as I say that, I always say with all due respect to it, like, I'm not trying to sell us short, but I mean, that's not really anything to do with us. We easily made the decision, okay, let's get on the internet and talk about racing. That was the fact that everyone who is watching this, who has watched even or listened to one episode or a handful of episodes, or you come back week after week, that's the goal. Obviously, we want you to come back and watch and listen to every episode that we put out. But I mean, every one of you that has liked or commented or shared or subscribed, anything to help us grow this thing, we're very aware of it, especially lately, how important that is and how much that means to us. And we can't thank you all enough for doing that. I mean, the reason that we are at this point is because people are coming back and watching. And when you're sharing and growing this thing, it's good for racing. And that was our overall goal. We want to leave the racing community someday better than when we start, or at least leave our mark that we left a positive sign on it somehow or another, and we can't do it without everybody that watches this. So
Absolutely.
And all the racers and media members, everyone that has pitched in, joined us, gave us a shot in the arm, a pat on the back at the track, or even gave us a piece of criticism that said, hey, maybe don't do this. This doesn't work. And maybe we listened to you, maybe we didn't, who knows? But I mean, it all goes in the memory bank. It all goes in our notes to you do it. But I mean, you're like, it's constantly, you're the one who makes the product, what everyone sees and hears. And you do a great job doing that. And I try to make as little garbage for you to cut out of the videos and stuff as possible.
Well, we've always kind of said this, is that, I'm good being behind the scenes, and Graydon is good at doing the meeting the people. And when he came back, and the amount of people that you've interacted with and have brought on as guests and helped bridge those gaps, is that we kind of are able to fill in the gaps for each other where we maybe aren't comfortable on the technical side or on the personal side. And it's why we work so good, man. The Stickers and the Scuff tires, man, work together to achieve one goal, and that's a victory. And I think we've had a very good season, and we're really looking forward to next year. I mean, I haven't felt like this in a long time, where I'm like, I hate this time of the year now, because I just want racing to be racing all the time, because it's family, it's people that we never expected would know who we are. You don't expect Andrew Ranger or Kevin Lacroix to smile and say hey to you. I know you by name. That's the thing that always freaks me out, is we have to thank really the series that really started it for us was the Pinty series. I mean, the OSS was right up there as well. But what Caitlin Pat, I mean, we don't give enough, and I think the series, I know they don't try to talk too much about their own people, but Caitlin Patrick, for what she's done for us, I don't know what else to say.
Getting us behind the curtain.
She's the reason that this is stayed where it is. She's the one that helped vouch for us. Tony Spiteri is the one who helped vouch for us. Dave Lloyd, who helped vouch for us. Sherry Putnam, who brought us in with Sammy, and I mean, Jeff Wilcox from White Motorsports vouching for us. Joel friggin' Robinson is the guy who does not get the love.
I had him saved.
He doesn't get the love that he honestly, truly deserves. We are not here without Joel Robinson. 100%, we are not here at all.
Honestly, like I was saving Joel kind of for an honorable shout out, because the guy that you almost never see, fans, if you don't know what he looks like, you might catch a little glimpse of him going through a camera shot in the Victory Lane celebration in the Pinty's telecast on TSN. But that guy, there's a reason he burns through shoes, because he's always on the go. And that guy, like I say, he's one of the hardest working guys that isn't out there on the racetrack or on the pit box. And he is one of the first real friends that I made in the racing community. Like before this was before Stickers and Scuffs was even a thought, when I was just bringing the family to the races and stuff, he made himself acquainted with me and would just kind of check in. And then we eventually had phone numbers after we were kind of following each other on Twitter and stuff, and find out a lot about a guy like that. And he's just the greatest dude, driest sense of humor. I don't know. Joel's my buddy, man. I love the guy. And like you say, we wouldn't be where we're at that day that we met at Sunset in August of 2021, like him putting up a bit of his equipment to help do the garage walk that he did, that scored us tons of views and that sort of thing. Like, there's just so many. Everybody in the Pinty Series community, I think,
is just so good,
can tell a story that can tie their career to Joel.
Yeah. And I mean, we're really lucky, and we had a lot of people that wanted to rep us at the racetrack. Some people we asked, other people they asked for us basically, and they said,
and some were offended that we hadn't approached
and some were
them.
offended that we hadn't. So we're gonna throw out. I think we've got most people on here. I definitely want to throw out. Thank you to Jomo for this, because it was his real idea. He was doing this for Jomo Media and thought it was such a good idea. And so we didn't expect drivers to be from all over. We have a driver in the US, in Ohio, Andy Lohr, who's had us on his display car, his Pinty's display car. He reps us out in Ohio. It was actually just out at a trade show.
Sweet looking car too.
Our buddy Wayne Hanlon out in Newfoundland, repping us as well. This is our list from 2022. We had drivers in the APC series, Oscar, Legends, Pinty's, Micro Sprints, Canadian Modified, Super Stocks, Karting, Bone Stocks. It was absolutely crazy. We had Connor James, Kyle Steckley, Rick Spencer-Walt, Trayton Lapsevich, Ray Morneau Jr., Wally Wilson, and Nate Spinks, Colton Everingham, Connor Ellis, Amanda Balson, Wayne Hamlin Jr., Larry Jackson, Matthew Skinnell. We're not even close to done yet. Trevor Monahan, Dexter and Wallace Stacy, Aaron Turkey, Chantel Kalika, Daniel Bois, Brian Cathcart, Gwen, Leah, and Ryan Verburn, Corey Halbert, Ryan Dyson, Brandon Feeney, Rick Verburn, Garrett Temersma, Jamie Maudsley is rubbing off on me.
Almost got the swear jar there.
Jesus. Mac Ingram, BT Racing's number 4, Cassie and Mike Howard, Joe Lawrence, Chris Lawrence, Phil Givens, Miss Penny, Jessica James, Rob Hooligan Harrison, Jason Metcalf, Dave and Mike Bradley. And we're already starting the 2023 season. We've already got some names confirmed for us. So let's go. We've got a couple of debuts. We've got Rick Spencer-Walt and Jake Spencer-Walt debuts for full seasons for them. Amanda Balson, we're expecting a return for her. Jessica James, the champ, a return for her. Marley Owen, I forgot to mention her in the previous one. Marley Owen returning. Alex Stewart returning. Cam Thompson will debut. Brad Robinson
no P.
Debut. What was that?
No P in the Thompson.
Oh, that's right. Yes. No P in the Thompson. Tim Tolton will debut in the number 3. Kevin Trevelyan, our good buddy in the 19 in OSS. Billy Zardo that'll be a good one. Connor Ellis. Mason Culver, really excited to be on our first mini truck. That'll be really cool. Rob Hogan Harrison, Randy Butler out of the Ladies of the Oval, Corey Halbert once again on the dirt, Johnny, which is one of my favorite last names here, Johnny Paradizinski in the mini stocks, Brendan and Mark Patrick in OSS, Donovan Price, Steve Shaw Jr., Philip Fowler, and BT Racing again. So that's just who we have now. We haven't even finished for who we've got for the full season. I mean, that's not even Pinty's names yet. That's just other names. So I would definitely want to thank Larry Jackson. Larry had us on all of his rides this year for the full season. Dexter and Wallace Stacy, for the most part, had us on. Daniel Bois as well. And so many great people that we have to thank. We would go on all night long, but there's nobody that I want to thank more than my good buddy Graydon Bunn. It's not easy to find a lifelong friend in social media times, but we did it during the pandemic, and we keep growing. And there's nothing that I love more than getting to do this podcast with Graydon and to see the Bunn Sons and to see Jess and see how and see the Bunn pets. That's always something we don't really mention. Getting my daily dose of Audrey and Maisie is always is Maisie Molly.
Molly's the survivor. Yeah, Macy
Molly
is.
But Macy when she was with us, and
she was a sweetheart.
Getting to see the Bunn pets is always a big thing. Seeing Audrey being ridiculous is always something I love. Getting to see, but every single one of the fans that have subscribed, that have liked us, that have shared our content, thank you. It means so much for two guys who just love racing and just want to see it succeed. We didn't expect this. And
that's it. Like, that's the end goal.
That's it. That's all we want. And we want to wish every single one of you guys a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, a Happy New Year. Graydon, do you have anything else that you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just Just to bring it all in, yeah, I echo everything you said, and there's definitely nobody that I would consider doing this with. I mean, like I said, this was something that was never ever on my to-do list, but I mean, it's something that I don't want to think about not doing. So I mean, it's a great deal, and like the relationship we forged, I mean, it showed like we are a good team, man. We seem to work well in business. We enjoy the social aspect of everything, and it's a great arrangement, and I wouldn't change it for anything. One little thing I just wanted to put out for any member of the Shepherd Zardo family, just wanted to send our heartfelt condolences and love for the loss of Bill Sr. Man, what a way to go out. That's I don't want to bring it down. I want to bring like, man, that guy lived life to the fullest, to the checkers, man. Like going out on top doesn't get any classier.
On a podium finish. You don't just do that.
Like to come back and want to go racing with your grandkids. My grandfather meant everything to me. He was my first best friend, and I can tell that's the case with Lane and
Billy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Billy, and just to everybody, very sorry for the loss of Bill. I mean, but man, that guy was a true legend in the Canadian racing world. He will be missed, but man, that guy left a mark that won't be forgotten.
Absolutely. He'd be the hero and the grandpa to everybody out in the garage field, and you can definitely see it. And
absolutely,
we're devastated, but we're also very thankful that we got to see him race. And getting to see him race in that Daytona was
man, just
something special.
It's poetry, man. Like
really is.
Yeah. And, cheers to Bill Sr., man.
Very much so. He's going to be very proud, I think, for years to come about those two, because they're both really, really talented and really great young racers. And,
true racers.
Very ecstatic to get to know them, and we're excited to see what happens with them. But on that end, we're going to wrap it up here for our fun episode of 2022. We'll be back, take a couple weeks off, but we need a little bit of a break. But we can run back on January 10th. We'll be recording on our first episode back for 2023. We'll be on the 11th of January. So we just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in for our rear view for 2022. Have yourselves a great holiday season, and we'll catch you back here on the 11th.